Welcome to the Grandpa Channel, where stories don't fade, they get recorded. I'm Steve Harris. My grandkids call me Rivers. This podcast is where grandpas and grandchildren pull up a chair, turn on a mic, and let her rip. Grandpa stories, they are chock full of wisdom, life lessons, and frankly, funny as hell. Your stories are the magic elixir to help your grandkids navigate Mr. Toad's wild ride, aka life. Let's Grandpa. This episode of the Grandpa Channel is brought to you by Hires Big H, home of wonderful hamburgers, French fries, onion rings, the magical and medicinal, so I say, root beer freeze. Head to Hires and treat yourself like the legend that you are. Now back to the channel. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Grandpa Channel. I have an amazing guest today. His name is Ty Yagi. I have 4 sons, and I also have some 5th sons, and Ty is one of my very finest 5th sons. And how long have we known each other?
Oh, man. Probably 20,
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll brag a little bit about Ty. He was a wonderful baseball player, played college ball and did all sorts of wonderful things. And he was just this wonderful, graceful baseball player. But Ty is not just a baseball player, a former baseball player. He's a husband and father of 3 of the cutest kids you can ever imagine. And he's married to a wonderful woman, Michelle, and I'm just so proud of him. So if I come across as popping my buttons when I talk about Ty, please forgive me, but that's just what the situation is. So
thank you. Keep them coming. Yeah,
I'll keep shoveling.
All right.
Yeah, I'll keep shoveling. I also, as a caveat, I'll tell you that I was one of the speakers at Ty's grandfather's funeral, and so I knew Junior Yagi quite well and loved Junior. It was hard not to love him. And he was a baseball guy. So we talked baseball and talked just all sorts of fun things. But he was an amazing man. And the influence that I have observed, he had a massive influence on you. So tell me a little bit about you. And then let's talk about Junior.
Yeah. As far as me, I'm Junior Yagi's grandson. And, if that's all I was, that would be enough. He was one of those types of people. Yeah, he was a baseball coach. He coached Brigham City for a long time, 40 plus years. And it's amazing. I talk to my grandma, often, and she's always telling me about a former player who's reached out to her and the influence that my grandpa made on that player. But I think much more than just being a baseball coach. I mean, it's just like the type of leader, the type of influence he had on people. He just had an innate way of making a mark and lasting impression on people. And the things that he taught me, things that he shared with me, they've stuck with me to this day. And
you still hear his voice in your head?
Oh yeah, definitely that. And
too.
You smell like he loved green polo cologne. Yeah. Like that is just something we keep in our house. It's kind of like a friendly reminder.
See, ours was men and skin brace.
The classics. But
yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we think of him often. Our kids know him, which is really special. Even though they didn't get to meet him, they know Grandpa Junior. My wife, I tell her stories of him all the time, and some of them are heartfelt, some of them are short laughs, right? And it seems like every day it's something, that he taught me, maybe an experience we had, something he told me, it's just the impact of those you've lost, it lasts forever.
Give me a little background on Junior. So what year was he born? Do you remember? Is it back in the 30s?
Felt like 1700, but I don't even know a year he was born, but I went to, Bear River High. He was tall, actually. He was a tall Japanese man, worked on the farm.
It was an onion farmer.
Big onion farmer up in Brigham City, Korean. And I think that's like one of his trademarks. It's just like how neat, organized, and disciplined he was as a farmer. And we have this amazing photo. Some random gentleman who owned a plane was flying over my grandpa's farm and just thought it looked so organized and so neat. He's like, I've never seen anything like that. So he took a picture of it and delivered. He had printed everything and delivered to my grandma. It's like, I've never seen anything like this. So you should have this, right? Yeah. But yes, amazing farmer, and developed some amazing relationships out there. but
He's a ball player too.
ball player, yeah, a great pitcher, and he broke his pinky, and so his pinky was always like this, and so like he threw a mean curveball.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's a natural motion.
Yeah, but his knowledge of the game was just incredible, and we talked about it every.
He didn't hit you over the head with it.
No, never.
And he would talk to your level. That was my experience.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit about baseball, but not even like anything close to what Junior knew about baseball.
He knew a lot, but he made it fun, and he never really felt like he never forced it down my throat, right? He almost let me come to him. I think, probably one of my favorite things about his style was, he would always sit front row right next to the on deck circle. And that just made me feel like $1,000,000. Like if my grandpa's watching, like I'm okay. I don't care who's pitching. Like I have confidence, right? But we would never talk about the game in the moment. He was never a dad or a grandpa that saw the kid doing something wrong and tried to correct him. He'd let me play the game. He'd let me make mistakes. And then we wouldn't really even talk about it till we got home. Right. And we'd eat dinner.
So you didn't get lectured in the car?
No, never.
Right. It was a terrible strikeout.
Oh, yeah. If anything, we just laugh about it. Right. But he really let me talk about it. And I always, in the moment, I didn't appreciate that. But now that I have kids and I have friends who have kids, and that's a topic that comes up is like, how do you handle the backseat drive, right? On the way home from a game, right? And I'm grateful. Like the way he did it was just so perfect.
He nailed it.
He made me love the game. He didn't push me away from the game.
Yeah.
Right. Before I go on about that, I think one thing that's important to know about Junior is he was the biggest Utah fan.
I'm a huge Utah fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And he despised the team down south. But
he made friends with people.
Oh yeah, totally. And he'd always be like very clear to point out like, oh, that's a good BYU fan though, right? That's a good BYU fan. It was like every single person that he says is a good BYU fan is like, that's all the BYU fans I know. So it was kind of funny, but I have to say that about him.
Now, did he go to the University of Utah?
He did.
Yeah.
So he's a proud alum. Yeah, dyed in the wool red. Ironically, like before he passed away, I was given this school assignment to do an autobiography on his life, and he told me about some of the things that happened when they were young, the prejudices that he experienced. One of the important life lessons he told me that he learned from that was, when you're going through hard things in life, whether it's like post World War II or just you experience some type of tragedy or whatever, you find out who your true friends are when you're going through that. And he said, you know what, Ty, every single person who I thought was a true friend was a true friend. And so he was surrounded by an amazing network.
He had some good friends.
Very loyal, amazing friends who, my grandma keeps in touch with today. My parents.
I can just remember it was a huge crowd for the funeral with lots of former ball players that he had coached. How would you describe his coaching style?
Oh, he's a player's coach. I'd say he really taught them to love the game. And I think he really elevated their confidence. Good example is this is a story my grandma told me and this is a story we heard 50 years after the fact, right? He, in a game, he made an error and it cost him the game, right? At least in his eyes. And he was devastated walking off the field. And my grandpa ran up to him, sprinted out to him and picked his chin up and said, "You do not hang your head." It's like, we did not lose the game because of you. We lost the game because of a million other things, but you're a champion today, And so that always stuck with that kid. And, in that moment, you don't really realize the impact that you're having on a kid, but that stuck with this gentleman for 50 plus years when he always remembers that. And I'm not sure if he went and played high school or anything like that, right? That was the type of coach he was. I mean, he instilled life lessons in people. And
but he would do it subtly too.
So subtly.
Not like, get a baseball bat out and start beating on it.
No.
Sort of a thing.
I mean, if I could kind of describe a coach that was like him, it's probably Coach Krzyzewski at Duke. I mean, he's someone who sits on the bench the whole game. He's not standing up, right? Just kind of sits back, observes. He really motivates the guys, makes them feel good, and win, lose, or draw. I mean, it's not about that. It's about the experience.
Did your grandpa, did he view this as, well, he loved baseball.
Loved it.
And he loved his players.
Yeah, I mean, instead of
he viewed it, I think, didn't he, as kind of a way to teach kids life lessons?
Yeah, I would think so.
Baseball is a great game for teaching life lessons.
Yeah, it is.
Failure is an integral part of baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. He used baseball really as a mantle to not impact the city of just like Corinne and Brigham City, but just everything in above that, right? And I think it's hard to not get spiritual about baseball because it is like one of those life lesson type of games, and the impact that he had on people and on me. I mean, you look back, you don't even really think about baseball. You think about the life lesson, so yeah, a lot of ways.
So what was his style as a grandpa? Was it, like a baseball coach on steroids with you, or how did he interact with you and your brothers and also the other?
Oh man, I would say it was not one flavor for all, right? Which I really respected about him. The amazing thing about him is he had a unique relationship with every single grandchild. I just think like he assessed it, similar to how you would as a baseball coach, right? You look at a kid's skills and you look at their strengths, their weaknesses, and you say, okay, this is like where they.
He's not playing high school ball.
Yeah,
I still love him. Right?
Yeah, like he's not going.
He's not,
but he's going to go do this instead. And that's totally fine, right? He had a really soft spot in his heart for his daughters.
Really?
Yeah, like he was a girl dad, girl grandpa. Like he was just different with the.
How was he different with?
Like I think for the most part, the boys were into sports, and that was kind of like the expectation. And I think the girls were into cheerleading, they were dance, things like that, things that he didn't know about, right? So in a lot of ways, I think it actually made him a better father, grandpa, because he could just be the supportive one, right? Not so much from a sports aspect where he's like, I think I can add something here or give you some advice. I think he would just more listen and more importantly, he was there. Right? He would just be there. Yeah. I think that's overlooked. You don't really have to say the perfect things. Just showing up is 99% of it. Yeah. And that's what people remember, at least as kids, is that, he was there.
So I got a weird question for you. Let's say somehow I conjure up and we bring Junior here. What do you think he'd say? And if I introduced it by saying, listen, we're trying to help grandpas based on, your experiences as a grandpa, and just based on who you were and all these wonderful, hundreds and thousands of people that you've impacted, because that's really what you're talking about. What do you think? What kind of advice would he have for our listening audience of 87 followers?
Man, he probably wouldn't say much, to be honest. He was he was a little bit more introverted than you would lead to believe.
He was friendly. He wasn't standoffish at all.
Yeah, but he's definitely not the type of guy that would like go out of his way to talk to somebody. He more expected you to come talk to him.
That's
right? Which was like always hilarious.
But you wanted to because he was so
and he quietly held that vendetta against you too. Like you didn't come talk to him. He kind of kept it in his list of like, he's on my list.
So what you're saying is he maybe wasn't perfect?
Yeah, exactly. He was. Yeah. We're all broken toys.
We all are.
Yeah, we're all fallible. But anyways, I think he'd come in, and I loved that he always called me dude. Like, I love his D voice. Hey, dude. So I think he'd say that. And it's like, I haven't seen you in 25 years. God, glad time you showed up, right? Yeah. But I think he would tell people like not to worry about him. That he's busy, that he's happy, that he's involved more than we think he is.
But I think that my own personal opinion, I think we've talked about this before, is after this life, we're going to see the involvement of our ancestors, especially maybe even grandpas that we didn't know, great grandpas, great grandpas. I think that, it's a very, powerful thing. And I think we'll go, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so the questions get weirder.
Yeah.
Junior comes and sits in this chair. And what do you think he would tell you? What kind of advice would he give you right now in your lifetime?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I think about that all the time, right? And he's still my driver, when we drive. I think he would just tell me he's proud more than anything. I think he had this innate ability of not so much like giving me advice. He'd more like let me talk about what I wanted to talk about. And then when I talk about it, I think he would give the advice.
Oh, that's it. So I like that a lot.
I think, when you ask the first question of like, what do you think you tell people? I think he probably asked like, hey, like, what's going on? What do you want to talk about today? I think I'd tell him some experiences like, hey, we went up to your graveside for your 70th anniversary with my grandma, got to meet the kids. And he would say, I know, and he's like, hey, I wish you could have been there. He's like, he'd probably say, I know, I was there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you just didn't see me, but I was there.
Yeah.
But I think more than anything, I think he would say, I'm so proud, right? And I think that's what I think we talk about.
What lessons come to your mind that you want to practice not only as a father, but in the future. And it'll happen sooner than you think with, with your grandkids.
Yeah.
What lessons do you carry away from Junior?
Before he died, I mean, I knew he was going to die. Like I woke up that morning for school, and this guy's tough as nails. But never saw doctors, hated it, right? And I remember getting ready, and he just told me, he's like, I think I'm going to go to the doctor today. And that was really bizarre. Yeah.
Triggers.
That was like, okay, something's really going on.
Right.
And then we went up to the hospital, we saw him, and I remember his kids, obviously in shock. I think trying to be optimistic, like he's going to be fine. There's obviously some things going on we need to get ahead of, but I think he knew that I knew too, that he was not in good shape, and pulled me into the hospital bed, and it was just me and him alone. And that was like probably the most sacred conversation we had. And I just remember telling him how grateful I was for him. And I remember, he told me, he said, Ty, like there's good people, there's great people, and then there's special people that are going to come into your life, and you got to discern who those people are. And he told me, like, you were one of those special people that came to my life. And I think the advice he left at the end was, in order to be special, you have to live your life that in a way that's special. So be special and live special. And I think that's a motto or something that I've carried with me every single day, whether it's work or it's being a dad. It's, am I doing it to do it? Or am I doing it in a special way? And if you're doing things in special ways, it's like special results happen, right? It's not always a win, right? It's either it's a lesson or a greater experience than you would have had, right? But I think those are some of the things. Like that's one thing for sure. I think the other thing is discipline. I mean, this guy had me up at 6 a.m. He was making me 3 eggs. He was making me breakfast. And his big thing, I don't know why he did this, but he loved like orange juice, and he'd like dump a cup of sugar in there. And it tasted so good. And this was like after I'm out with my high school buddies, I'm out till 1 a.m. and he's like, you're up by 6. So whatever you want to do, that's fine. But no, you're up by 6. And after that, no exceptions. And then after that, he's like, go for a run. He's like, you're not allowed in the house. Like, go for a run around the block and then come back. And if you've done that, then you can go take a nap. You can do whatever you want. But at least you won the day. And so I think that's another thing of just like the power of discipline, and winning the days can be something as simple as just making your bed in the morning, getting up for breakfast, right? Those are things.
Where did he learn that from?
I think his parents were incredible parents.
Did you know?
No, I never got to meet them, but my dad shares stories of them and just said that they were just incredible.
Really?
Yeah, just absolutely amazing people. But I also think that, some people are born with that sense of discipline. Like me, like I'm not. Like I had to have someone like him who really enforced that. Those are things that I'd hope for, like my daughters, and hope for my sons, but or my son. Then I think the other thing is,
are you announcing anything?
No, I wish. Yeah, Michelle. But no, I think just being there, right? And I think he also taught me, like, there's things in life that you just like have to do, right? Like, you go to a wedding when you don't want to go to a wedding, right? You show up for when people talk in church, go to funerals, right? The birthday parties, right? Those are things that you do. And I think those are some little things that I think I take with me.
Ty's grandma, Selma, she is a genuine, I don't know how to describe it. She's in Latin, there's a sui generis. She's one of a kind.
She called herself the sexiest grandma in Willow Creek the other day. Filled out a questionnaire and said if they were to write a movie about me, what would the title be? It's just, that's exactly what she said.
She's amazing. And she is a pistol.
Yeah.
And she's a pistol. Do you feel kind of, my dad was a pretty extraordinary father and a grandfather. And I have no excuse as a dad or a grandpa, because I just saw my dad in action. It's not to say my dad wasn't perfect or that he was perfect, but I just, I feel there's this weight of you've got to be as good as Lou, and I've accepted that and I've rolled with it. Some people rebel against it, but I really hold my dad, the grandfather to my kids, just on this high pedestal of teaching me discipline, teaching me how to be nice to people, teaching me about how to be optimistic in times when optimism wasn't really warranted. And, and anyway, I just think that, grandfathers have this incredible power. And I view grandpas in some ways as sort of this bubbling fountain of wisdom and peace.
Yeah.
Because I could go talk to my dad, and I didn't know any of my grandfathers. They had passed away before I was born. But just, using the example of my dad, and I could, he would calm me down. And he would say, look on the bright side. Stuff happens, although he would use the other phrase of stuff, the euphemistic stuff, word for stuff. And he would just say, you just keep plugging. But he was a great listener. I just think that we as grandpas and grandpas to be, and fathers, obviously, we just have this ability, this wonderful chance to serve as a castle or a bastion of peace. I thought Junior exuded, that sort of wisdom, understated wisdom, and there was a peacefulness about him that he didn't get super agitated. Did he have a temper, Ty?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he made some situations.
This is the expose.
Pretty uncomfortable. I mean, you want to see like experience discomfort, just go have dinner with him at a restaurant. Right?
Why?
Oh, food wasn't perfect. It was just cringe.
Really?
To ruin this 15-year-old waitress's life, right? It was just, like it's so hard, right? It's like, it's not that bad. He's like, no, I'm not paying for this, right? Like, and just was so uncomfortable that way. Yeah. But I would say his like secret weapon was silent treatment. Like, you really know you had done wrong when he talked to you. Like, I remember like I went down to St. George for a senior trip, and my buddy and I, like 1 a.m. at St. George, walked down the hair products section, right? And he has this brilliant idea of like, let's just dye our hair yellow. And I'm like, okay, let's do it, right? Yeah. And I decided to do it, and you know how that works out. Asian with black hair, like blonde is natural for me. So I come back and it's just bright orange. And he looked at me, and I'll never forget the look. It was just the look as if I had just died in his eyes. Like, I was dead to him at that moment. Didn't talk to him. He wouldn't talk to me for a week, and I could even hear, I could even hear my grandma like, June, he's just a kid having fun. He's like, well, should have thought of that before he did such an asinine thing. And, the silent treatment was hard. But I also think that was one of his styles of like, he never really like corrected in the moment, which I always respected about him. Like, he was never quick to anger. Like, he would wait. If something wrong was like bothering him, he wouldn't talk about it then. He would take some time to reflect on it. And then when the opportunity was right and the emotions were set aside, he would talk about it. That's something I try to practice as well. But even in that,
I think he did
that experience, he was uncomfortable week.
So now I'm going to ask you a really uncomfortable question.
Please do.
I want you to look into the kids. So what would you say to Junior? Let's say he's watching. What would you say to him?
Ooh.
I'll make you get emotional.
No. I just say I love you. Miss you every day. Had some great people in my life who have been there to support, but you're not lost. You're not forgotten. We carry you in our hearts. We laugh about you. Sometimes we get angry with you that you left us so early, right? But we hope we're making you proud. And the Utes are going to the college football playoff this year.
You guarantee it?
I guarantee it. Already placed it in Vegas.
No. Yeah. There you go.
It's ironic too. I wish I wish I had more like what you call like, maybe sacred moments with him. Like my grandma says she feels him and has conversations with him all the time. And, I've just felt it strange. Like, I just like haven't with him too much. And I honestly think that's been intentional. Like, I think when he left, I think is you go live your life and you go do what you need to do, and we'll be fine. Like, just like old friends, when it's time, we'll be there, but I'll be involved.
I think his life, the word I would use is permeates your entire existence.
Yeah.
Especially, with Junior. And I think that to some degree, I had one experience with my mom after she passed away that I have not had one with my dad. But I think that I would probably agree with you that it's kind of like, hey, I've taught you, what you're supposed to do. I'm just convinced, Ty, that they're there and they love us, that, their love is, and sometimes the veil between this world and next world is pretty thin.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I've had my moments with him, and I think like even in that goodbye in the hospital, I think the one feeling was that like that I left with was, do not for 1 second dwell on me, And I think it in a sense he almost felt like I'd be disrespecting him if I dwelled on him. And
he wanted you to move forward.
he wanted me to move forward, right? And I know that he's been there in every moment of my life. He's involved in all the intricacies that I can't even imagine, right? He's witnessed the hard moments. He's witnessed the best moments, you know, and I know and I believe that he's handpicked all my kids.
I think he
believe
does too.
Yeah.
I think he's thrilled with you and Michelle and your kids, and as am I, by the way.
No,
so, I'm so grateful that you came. And thank you for talking about one of the most amazing people I've ever met.
Yeah, I could talk for days about him. And, you know, I don't talk about him too much, you know, but when I do.
But I think that's probably what he would want too. He'd want you to focus on moving forward.
I think so. When I think of him, there's these moments. Like I had this dream. It was interesting, like kind of when my baseball career was wrapping up. I remember we were playing Indiana. It was a 17-inning game, and it was a long game. And I had to go take a final that night. And I was stressing. I'm like, it's like 11. Finals due at 11:59. Like I got to get back home, right? Yeah. So someone get a hit. We got to win. Yeah. And I remember I was like going back between positions, like third base, second base, left field, right field, just trying to fill the roster, fill spots because we were moving around so much. But I was on a knee out in the outfield, 7th inning, and I literally felt him pick me up. Yeah. And it was like this, hey, dude, you're not supposed to do this. Like, you're not supposed to be on a knee. I don't care how tired you are, but like, hey, dude, right? And I thought that was strange, you know, and it felt like, okay, yeah, we can go. I can go another 9, right? Let's do this. So had that experience with him. And then I think the most vivid memory that I think about with him was 2 days after, the day before I tore my ACL, and that was it, right? It was, I remember we're playing at this game, and the dugouts were underground, so you couldn't really see above. But I remember my teammates come up to me like, Ty, your grandpa's here. And I was like, there's no way. Like, he passed away a long time ago. Like, no, dude, he's freaking here.
He's here.
Yeah. And so I like peeked my head out, and I could see my grandpa in his Brigham City hat.
No way.
And he had these aviators that were just like so him.
On brand.
Yeah. And I just remember he just had like some tears in his eyes. And that's just a thing I think about when I think of him, is just, he's there. He's proud. You know, that was a great career. And so I just think about that in my life. Like, played baseball as well as I could have, but, you know, can I be a dad like that? Can I be the same caliber of a dad? Can I be the same caliber of a grandpa? Am I living my life special every day? And if I'm not, what can you do to correct? And how can you be special to somebody else? I think that was something amazing about him, was he just commanded the room. He did, you know, and he just, he loved with his whole heart. It was amazing about him. This guy from Brigham City, and come into Salt Lake, not a Salt Lake, it's a huge town, right? But he's just like the mayor, you know? And I always thought that was incredible. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
My privilege. Thank you for being my friend and my 5th son.
Yeah.
And so thanks so much. I'm reminded, Ty, one of the reasons why I want to do this channel is that Winston Churchill, somebody came up to him one time and said, Lord so-and-so is a very modest man. To which Churchill, who never suffered from self-doubt, said, well, Lord so-and-so has much to be modest about. And I have this very strong feeling that I have so much to be modest about as a grandpa and as a father. And the idea of creating an environment where people could come and learn about new ways to lift their grandkids, their kids. And the thing that Junior did too, this just struck me, was that he grandpa'd where he was at, not necessarily with his grandchildren, but he had all of these hundreds and hundreds of baseball players, his players that he, you know, he didn't say, well, no, you know, you're not part of my kin. So, but you know, he grandpa'd where he was at. He bloomed where he was planted as a grandpa. And so that was very apparent at the funeral. So thank you for coming.
What an honor.
Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you.
That's it for today's episode of the Grandpa Channel. Until next time, keep the mic hot, the memories fresh, and the jokes just slightly inappropriate. I'm out of here. I gotta go take a nap.